regular place. The last couple of meetings we've had, we've been over at the community center now, that way. But again, it's good to be back in our normal settings. Of course, 2 weeks ago, our first regularly scheduled meeting of July, we postponed that to July 16th because of an invitation that we received to go tour the Bristol Bass Pro Shop and meet with the Bass Pro, some of the Bass Pro officials. And then, of course, last week, the tragic situation that occurred in the city of Chattanooga that I'm sure we will all be feeling repercussions from that for many, many years to come. So again, our prayers, thoughts and prayers go to all of the families impacted. And I think there's one funeral tomorrow that again will impact this entire area, and then another on Tuesday. And again, it's good to be back here. Thank you for being here for our agenda work session, July 23rd, 2015. And if you could possibly provide the roll call.
Mayor Lambert.
Here.
Vice Mayor Gravitt.
Here.
Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Manning.
Here.
Councilmember Sewell.
Here.
Interim City Manager Williams.
Here.
City Attorney Moore.
Here.
All right. We will jump directly to new business. That would be item A. This is highlighted in red, indicating staff would ask that we move this forward to tonight. That I believe you have some additional information to share with us.
Thanks, Mayor. Members of the council, resolution number 2496 is, staff would ask that we hold on it, but I would like to explain for the purpose of the council and for the citizens that have gathered what this relates to. This is a capital outlay note that was used for the purchase of sanitation trucks in 2009, fiscal year 2009-2010. The comptroller contacted us not long ago and informed us that the paperwork had not been, the loan had not been pre-approved and all the paperwork filled out. So this is a matter of going back, and the resolution retroactively approves after the fact, but it brings us into compliance with state law and with the comptroller's regulations. So there is no new. We did get a question. Councilman Cagle did ask about this, just to make sure to be clear, this is not new debt. It's not tied to the recent $3.5 million bond issue. This is money that we borrowed years ago, and we're just trying to ensure the city's in compliance with state law. Mark Amontoff is at bond counsel. He's reviewing the papers at this time, and I've not gotten that back from him, so I'd prefer to go ahead and move that out of the red zone into the black zone.
Okay.
We'll get it at the next meeting with the council's permission.
So really just, we will treat this as if it's not to be moved up. We just leave it on this agenda for next time. Thank you. And we appreciate your efforts in trying to get that straightened out. And it always helps to have folks on the ball when it comes to your finances. So thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments in regard to that? All right. Item B would be an approval. It's an unnumbered resolution to approve a contract with an engineer for the LPRF grant. Does anyone have?
Mayor, members of the council, we had an item that the staff had worked with the development district to put this out, a proposal. We received 8 proposals, 8 respondents, and they were all great, but we had 2 that scored real high. Mr. Martin and myself worked on those 2 and did come to the same conclusion in regard to who the city would propose. Ask next week that you go ahead and Reagan Smith is the name of the firm. They put together a great proposal, as did everybody, but it really did stick down. We have a representative of the firm here, if there were any questions.
Yeah, Terry Reynolds is here if you folks would like to ask him any questions. We felt like that they had the experience not only in working with municipal governments, I've done a lot of projects around the Chattanooga area, but their vital experience that they had in working with athletic fields and things of this nature, which will help us to be able to work with. But Mr. Reynolds will be more than happy to answer any questions that you folks have.
Does anyone have questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, we will see this in 3 weeks, actually. July is a 5 Thursday month, so longer than normal time between meetings. All right, item C, another unnumbered resolution. This would be to approve an application for an acceptance of the fiscal year 2016 Tennessee Department of Transportation Alternatives Grant.
Mayor, the city would like to propose applying for the Transportation Alternatives Grant again during this next cycle. We were fortunate in that we did receive the multimodal grant during this last round, which was for $1 million project. That's for a $650,000 project. We're going to reapply on the same basis. It's been recommended to us by the state, by the development district, that we go ahead and apply as phase 2. It's an 80%, 80-20 match. The grant we received was 95% state funded grant. So we're very excited to get that, but we want to continue. It is budgeted, and we want to continue to try to seek those funds if at all possible. So we ask the council's support and direction on this.
The state recommended that we apply for.
Right, with the same applications.
We paid about 80. Like I said, 80, 20. But usually we always come out short end and pay 80, they don't want it.
All right. No questions or comments. We'll move to item D, another unnumbered resolution to approve State Street aid paving bids.
Mayor, we thought to pull resources and save money this year, that we were trying something a little bit different. A lot of cities do this, but bid out our paving projects. We've gone out and looked at, calculated the approximate cost of paving each stretch of street. In fact, we've got a list of streets here, and we would ask for some guidance on some of these side streets related to we might be able to enjoy some economies of scale in bidding these out together. But if council members have any sense of which ones are more or less important, we'd appreciate any feedback. If you want to come and sit down and talk to the city manager or myself, we sure would appreciate the guidance. But by bidding them all together, we can find somebody that'd be willing to come in and do that work, as opposed to bidding it street by street, as I understand the city's done in the past. So, we're just trying to save money and use funds as wisely as we can.
How much money do we have in the State Street Aid Fund?
We have, as of June 30th, the last day of fiscal year 15, we have $1,256,000.
$1,200,000?
Yes, sir. It's a little bit more than that.
How much are all these projects looking at costing?
We're looking at just under $500,000. We do have those budgeted as paving projects. We do have revenues coming in, so that we have assuming that we did move forward as budgeted and included these projects as proposed, we would still have a State Street Aid balance at the end of the next fiscal year projected to be about the same amount, about 1.15. So.
Well, the reason I'm asking is we've got some work down at Camp Jordan that we need to take care of, and we need to expedite that. I certainly don't want to deplete our State Street Aid Fund and not have the money to take care of at least our portion, to take care of that.
think we have, we're going to talk a little bit more about that actually at the end of this meeting. But, I'm sorry? Yes, next page over, yeah. But it's, I agree. Getting judicious in how we use the street aid.
Exactly. Did I ask the question, and I may have, forgive me if I did, do you have a total on how much this is going to cost these projects?
Total
Did you
project.
say about $500,000?
About $500,000. That's these projects as well as some side streets that apparently didn't make it in here. This is only one list, two lists of streets that have been put together by city services. These are side streets that we would like to see if we can bid out or work with the successful bidder for the TIP improvement grant. See if we can, again, capitalize on doing the work on the road. Between those two lists, the total comes to that amount, and we can certainly break that out and have those two lists separated for the next meeting.
Now, the multimodal grant, we're responsible for 50,000 of that, right?
That's
And
correct.
we can pay that out of the state street aid fund as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we would need to back these projects out, back out the multimodal portion as well. If we get the Safe Street grant that we've applied for as well, what kind of matching is that?
It's 100%.
It's 100%, so we don't have to worry about that. Bottom line of what I'm getting at is, it sounds like we'll have about 600,000, give or take, to work on Camp Jordan. Balance. Camp Jordan Road, correct? After these are completed. How much, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but, and if you don't know, say, I don't know. Approximately how much do we receive in state street aid per year?
We should be able to bring in, at the end of next year, we should bring in about $1 million next year in the state street aid fund.
Thanks.
All right, if there are no other comments or questions, we will move to item E, which would be approval of annual bids for street department materials.
Now, this is something that is budgeted. We're just basically just asking for permission to go ahead and move forward with that and send bids out for the material that is needed for the street department.
Fantastic. And item F, approval of bids for paint machine for traffic control department.
This is also another item that was approved on for the capital improvement. I think that's correct. Mr. Jablonski. On their capital improvement, it was already on there for a paint machine. It was actually prior to last year, but due to circumstances of this last budget, they did not get the opportunity to go ahead and purchase that. So we want to go ahead and ask for approval to go ahead and send bids out. Try to go and get that taken care of now.
What are they looking to bid out? Is it gonna be one to load onto a pickup truck, or is it gonna be a drive machine?
Both of them for
Yeah.
what they look at.
That's correct. I believe it is a large machine. If you actually load onto the back of the truck, it's from my understanding, is that not correct, Pat? The machine in question. Typically what they have now, they've got something about the size of a golf cart. Okay, and it's very dangerous. You can't continue with a straight line for a long period of time. And this would be more efficient and safer for the employees.
What was the reason I know we put it in the budget last year, and for some reason I thought we got it.
We did, but there was, due to some circumstances that was taking place in the street department being pulled off for other services that needed to be done in the city, and they were helping to improve in other locations. They didn't have the opportunity to go ahead and make that purchase. During this also was the wintertime. Wintertime comes around, of course, there's no sense in making that purchase now. You know, so we want to, so they got to the situation where they had kind of hold off on it before they could come back and order something else, come back up. It
I'm sure Mike will, make sure that it's got all the bells and whistles like the big dispenser.
I believe at one time that the traffic shop did show a spec on the piece of equipment that was asphalt.
No, we definitely need a big dispenser to go with it.
I think it was a double striper and it was able to carry quite a payload, so as I recall, we could read, we could make sure we have the specs for the next meeting. I'll make a note.
All right, if there are no other comments or questions on that, we'll move to item G, which is contract with Southeast Tennessee Development District to administer the 2015 TDOT Multimodal Transportation Grant.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We have discussed, contact with Sam, so he's working long and hard on our multimodal grant project, but also coordinating a lot of that process with Community Miller, done a lot of work with our city grants. Sam and I discussed this, and I discussed it with Mike. I feel real strongly that the development district, given the number of multimodal projects that they had administered versus the city, given administrative staffing levels at this point in time, the city would be better served if they administered the grant. Again, they're tried and true, they're tested, and not saying we couldn't do it because we can, but as several of you pointed out tonight, some of the projects that we have upcoming, we've got our work cut out for us this fiscal year, and again, we'll get that thing that you need us to, but I think it'd be good money. Just a little bit of money that would be paid for as part of the grant, to be money well spent. Propose that they administer the grant. They're more than willing to do that for us. They're partners.
Very good.
That's paying 100%.
That's the grant that basically $1 million project, and we're paying 50,000 of $1 million. So the state's.
Sometimes some entities try to charge up to 15%, which is the maximum allowed under most state grants. They've not done. I think they've been pretty fair, given the man hours involved. It's going to be quite a process over the course of more than 1 year. I would like to correct some of that statement, if I may. Sure. Before we move on. Councilman Graham, approximately $600,000 will come in for state street aid funding from the state of Tennessee in the next fiscal year. My reference, I was thinking of line items related to revenues, not the actual amount coming in from the state. We have some money carrying over into the next fiscal year that's helping our fund balance.
So it won't be $1 million, it'll be more like 600?
Like 600,000 in new money coming
Right.
into the state street aid.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Item H, discussion of purchasing 15 laptops for the police department.
Mayor, Council, as you know, we stepped forward and tried to get that technology age into the car. Good news is we've sold, working with Janet, we've sold some of our cars have been sitting out front of McBride School. Janet gave me an up-to-date list on that. We're up to, I believe it's 8 vehicles, about $8,300 out of those 8 vehicles so far. So to supplement the grant that we have for approximately $13,000, and then another grant through the Governor's Highway Safety of another $5,000. We're at our first point where we can order 15. With starting that project and getting those ordered, there is a lead time on ordering these computers. It generally takes about a 2-week period by the time we get the order in to get it back. I'm working with the city of Chattanooga on getting the next level, which would be the software installed. We would be coming off the back of Chattanooga because it's that's pretty much the program everybody's using. gives us some leeway as far as training. It gives us some leeway as far as if there's problems, they handle the technical aspect of it. I do have a quote from the software manufacturer on that of $21,708 to get those licensing started on that particular project. I have talked with them though, just a little bit to let you know that dollar amount may come down because of the city of Chattanooga doing the maintenance and installation and training. So that number may drop down to about 17 in that area based on what the city is going to be able to do for us. And they've offered to help in any way they can to get our program, as much as they can, to get it up off the ground and help us with it. If you'll remember back in the budget meeting, Vice Mayor, you talked about all the cars going to that and some of the seizure vehicles. And I was explaining some of the software and the purchases. At that time, I thought we were going to have an additional software. I found out that we're already buying licensing software that we can use. So that's sort of like a bonus that we're not having to purchase extra stuff. So that will help lead and hopefully finish out the rest of the purchases of those computers getting in the car. Then we'll have to look at a little bit of connectivity, which is an air card setup. That's going to run us about just roughly $8,000 a year for everybody. And from that point, we'll have one last leg, and that's the 911 software. And I've been talking with Mr. Sterling over at 911 about that. So we're looking pretty good. First round, we shouldn't have to spend anything other than what we have in grants and sales on those 15 computers.
You couldn't talk to Steve Chattanooga, do anything?
Well, I've beat Chief Fletcher up about as much as I can, sir. They're really trying to help us out. They understand that starting at ground level and coming up, it is a very difficult situation because, first of all, we don't have the machines. Second of all, we don't have the connectivity. We have to get some basic travel of that connectivity because of the security that it is, how it's going to run into their server. Our IT people are going to have to work on that and get that established, which I don't believe is going to be a problem. They're more than willing to work with us at any point. So.
I do appreciate what you got.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. All right, and the last item on the work session agenda is discussion of the Exit 1 road project. Already talked a little bit about that. This is something that we've talked about in the past, but also obviously a little bit of conversation about it tonight in terms of what money's available in state street aid. Have a couple of the guys from the Jordan Crossing Development Exit 1 LLC who are here. I know they've done some engineering work or had some engineering work done on that area, and I'd like to ask them to come forward if they will.
Is this on? Thanks. Good to see you all. I think in order to explain what we are trying to accomplish, we in January hired Arcadis Engineering. As part of our commitment to Bass Pro, we had to provide a traffic study for that area of Ringgold Road and Camp Jordan Parkway to prove the ability for the road to accommodate the Bass Pro. We hired them in, like I said, January. They delivered us a report sometime in February, and ultimately there are some minor changes that need to be made to the existing roadway to accommodate Bass Pro. It's an extension of the turn lane turning north onto Camp Jordan Parkway off of Ringgold Road. It's a pretty minor change, but it will accommodate the traffic for Bass Pro. There will be areas, I think we've all had conversations about this. There are times when Camp Jordan Stumps got that so booked up that there's so many people in there, there will be traffic concerns certain times of the year with events that are taking place. But I don't think it's anything that can't be worked through. The challenge is that the road will not accommodate any additional development or any additional traffic other than the traffic that goes into Camp Jordan Park and the Bass Pro. So we hired Arcadis to come up with a road plan that would accommodate the entire development and the Camp Jordan Parkway in conjunction with working with the state and try and alleviate some of the traffic concerns at Exit 1 on I-75. So we spent some time with the Department of Transportation and with the help of Representative Rabbit, worked with them to come up with a plan that ultimately the state liked, and it's a reworking of the northbound off-ramp on I-75. It is a removal of the northbound on-ramp, the cloverleaf, and a new intersection at the exit ramp that would drive straight across Highway 41 onto Camp Jordan Road. It's essentially a three-component plan. It increases the lane traffic on Highway 41 from Max Smith Road to Camp Jordan Parkway, or the existing Camp Jordan Parkway, for a 6-lane road versus 4 that it is currently. It does the 2 interchange, the northbound on and off ramp work, and removal of the old on and off ramp. And then it incorporates a 4-lane, turns Camp Jordan Parkway into a 4-lane road until you get to the bridge, narrows down to a 2-lane road at the bridge, and it has a grass median with turn lanes in and out of the development. We worked with Arcadis to come up with a budget on what they would anticipate the cost to be. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.8 to $3 million. And we have gotten the state to agree to contribute $1 million of the cost. And we've met with Mayor Coppinger a couple times to get the county to contribute. We're asking them to contribute $1 million to the project. And we'll be here when this comes before you and be asking East Ridge to contribute. We currently, at this point, will be asking East Ridge to contribute $1 million. We currently, at this point, have spent in excess of $100,000 in the engineering work to design the road. The challenge is that we can't afford to tell Bass Pro after they open that we're going to close Camp Jordan Parkway to redo the road. I think there will be a little bit of a, did you guys not think this was going to be a problem before we came here? So with anticipation of them opening late spring, early summer of next year, the Camp Jordan Parkway part of the project would need to be done immediately. The portion that the state has to do would be Highway 41 and the interchange, but that has to go before federal highway approval, and it could take another 6 to 12 months just to get approval for that. The state is working on that right now. It'll be a while before that work could get done. So what we're asking is we would keep the existing access on Camp Jordan Parkway that would tie into the new road, a portion of the new road that would be there when, at a later date, when TDOT can get the work done on widening. It's actually not, it's really a paving and restriping. The bridge is already open, will accommodate 3 lanes on both sides. So when the state can get that work done, they would just tie into the new Camp Jordan Parkway at that point, and it would not impact or have a minimal impact on traffic coming in and out of Camp Jordan and the development. I've got a couple here. Some of you have.
No, while you're looking for those, basically it's a, my understanding is that it's really a two-phase project. First phase being Camp Jordan Parkway, getting it done prior to Bass Pro opening. And the second phase of that would be where TDOT comes in once they get the Federal Highway Administration approval. And so really what we're looking at is potentially, if the county is agreeable to do the $1 million, if they put $500,000 in for the first phase, the city puts $500,000 in for the first phase, that should take care of Camp Jordan Parkway.
Yeah, and it would just be the portion that it wouldn't actually tie into Ringgold Road at that point. You would keep your existing access, so there's no new light, there's no new, as far as the traffic flow on Ringgold Road, it wouldn't change until the state could complete their work. What we're trying to avoid is opening Bass Pro and then tearing up the road and affecting their traffic coming in and out of the store after they open. So with the only way to do that where it wouldn't have any impact is to start that portion of the project now. We have hired the engineers to design the road. I think I mentioned we spent in excess of $100,000 to do that. And it should be completed at the end of this month. So if the city did elect to do this, it could be available to go to bid in September or in August, and hopefully the work done. It's probably a 6-month project, 4 to 6 months, depending on weather. Just a couple things about it. As far as our development is concerned, in order to maximize the land that we have, we own approximately 40 acres there. We've just bought some additional land. We have some other land under contract. And we intend to do a project with somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000, well, actually 350,000 square feet of retail. Bass Pro will be 85,000 feet. We currently have a letter of intent with a restaurant that we have signed. I think everybody will be excited about, well, not everybody, but most people will be excited about it. And that is contingent on the road, the restaurant. One of the things that when the engineers told us the traffic study would accommodate any additional traffic unless the road was widened. Then, for the tenants that we are talking to, it's obviously an issue. Sewer is another note, but the sewer and the road have to be fixed to accommodate the additional development. So, I think if you look at just the local option tax portion, forget the border region for a moment, just the local option tax portion of the additional 250,000 or 200,000 square feet of retail, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 restaurants and a 90-room hotel would more than pay back the $1 million investment the city would be making. That's just in the local option tax. Obviously, there are property taxes associated with the two. I think that's why the county is willing to contribute. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 million development. So as far as us, we've contributed directly to the engineering costs of the road, and we've got our fannies on the line on the entire project. We're all in, if you will. So we certainly want to develop as much property there as we can. And the way that I know there's been some discussion of whose responsibility this should be, my opinion is it's an infrastructure project that benefits the city. It certainly benefits us. There's no hiding that. It helps us reach the maximum potential of the development. But we believe that cities are in the infrastructure business, and in order for the cities to grow, they have to invest in that. So we're asking you you all to do that. I think I've mentioned this to one or two of you. For the city the size of East Ridge, our project, Jordan Crossing, is bigger than Volkswagen was to Chattanooga as far as dollar volume that it generates. And it's a little bit like asking VW to build their own exit off the interstate to accommodate their facility. So I know that historically there certainly are a fair share of naysayers. But I think that if you look at, and I don't know if Thad has been able to get the final numbers yet, but I think if you look at the decisions that you all as a council have made over the last 18, 24 months in moving forward with this project, I think the numbers speak for themselves. I think you will be receiving a check back from the state this year on the border region before anything's ever here. We believe that this is something that if we were sitting in a leadership position in this city that we would do, and we certainly wouldn't ask you to do it if we didn't feel that way. So, I don't know if anybody has any questions about it. Sure.
This phase one that the mayor says, this road going into the park, it's going all the way down to the Creek Bridge.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is it going to be level up there where Bass Pro set all the way to the bridge? It's still going to have big dips in?
No,
The water's going to come in?
No, the road would be, well, there's a portion that the floodway, where the floodway begins, you can't raise the road. So the road would have a gradual decrease in elevation. It'd be raised on the front end. Approximately where the fire hall was is 100-year flood elevation. The road would stay at 100-year flood elevation as long as it could, and then a gradual slope down into the floodway.
Where's the bridge at?
The bridge is well below the 100-year flood.
So, if you go take it from there, level to the bridge.
Yeah, I mean, well, you have at a point on that plan you're looking at, just beyond the gray area, the light green, that's all floodway. And we can't put anything in the floodway that would raise the elevation because it could affect, in a flood event, it could affect the flow of the water. So when you get to that point, the road will be down at its current elevation. So if you look back, let's say over 200 feet, it will slope down, at some sort of grade. I haven't seen the final engineering plans, they're not done, but it'll slope at a gradual grade. It'll be mostly flat all across Camp Jordan Parkway above the 100-year flood, and then it'll gradually slope down into the floodway. And then at that point, it will also narrow from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. The bridge is not wide enough to take 4 lanes all the way across into Camp Jordan Park. So it would narrow from 4 lanes at the end of that in the floodway to 2 lanes. Sidewalks on both sides, and then the sidewalk would tie into the sidewalk on the west side of the bridge.
What's the timeline on this? You said 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, it's estimated that the project would take 4 to 6 months.
Is that going to interfere with Bass Pro and the projected size that y'all got?
Not if we hurry.
Not if we hurry.
I don't think so. Let me say this: if we felt like it would, then we wouldn't be asking to do this. I think that if everybody, again, the engineering will be done the end of next week, on the 1st of August, which should give plenty of time to get the drawings out for bids, and then the work to be done. Ideally, it would be a project that would start in September.
How come,
We actually have known about this for some time. This council voted to adopt option 2 3 or 4 months ago.
that's how that's going?
Yeah, that was part of the plan. As soon as this, in fact, several of you were at the meeting with TDOT. as soon as we hired Arcadis back in January or February, they came up with the plans. They presented, I don't remember how many plans, different plans there were, but there were several different plans. TDOT actually signed off on 2 of them. One, they offered $1 million to contribute. The other, they did not. Both plans fixed Highway 41 and Camp Jordan Parkway. The third, the plan, I think this was option 2, right, Brent? Option 2 had to fix on the interstate, and the Department of Transportation likes that plan. They think it will help with safety and eliminate a weave on the interstate. So they said if we would pick that plan, that they would contribute $1 million to it.
$3 million project, is this the whole thing here? Camp Jordan Parkway and all the interchange out here too?
Yes, sir.
Traffic lights?
Yes, sir.
And it's back whenever that was that we looked at the different options, and this council made the decision to say, you know, of these options, option 2 looks best. And we told TDOT that, which basically gave them the understanding, yeah, we would like to take you up on that $1 million that you're offering to us. You know, at that time, I made the statement, and I will say it again, even if we weren't looking at the development that's going in, and this is just from my perspective as East Ridge citizen, even if you take out all of the economic development that this generates, this is a really good project for East Ridge in that it eliminates the perpetual traffic headaches trying to get down Camp Jordan Parkway. And any of you all who travel that way often or live down that way know what I'm talking about. Just on a regular weekend, when there's a soccer tournament or softball tournament, the traffic backs up to the overpass on 75 trying to turn left onto Camp Jordan Parkway in front of Motel 6. I mean, it is difficult. This plan alleviates all of that.
There's no doubt. It takes into account all the traffic at Camp Jordan, and they tested during different events and took all the traffic meters and everything. And then it accommodates, I think the original plan, we had 350,000 square feet of retail in there, and hotels and restaurants. It accommodates all of that, the new plan. It has 2 turn lanes to the left going into Camp Jordan Road.
I do know on our Christmas night, I can't how many thousand people out for that.
What's that?
How many cars came through the Christmas light show? Son, do you remember that?
23,000, but we've already met with them. We have already planned this was going to happen, and we knew we were going to have the road closed. They told us for 6 months. I did the math. I took next July and moved back 6 months and knew we were going to be doing business in the winter, and we made a change, and we've changed where the Christmas light show is going to be in, and we've also allowed for lack of better words, a buffer where we can double stack cars and try to take as much as we can off of Frawley Road where it won't be backed up out there. So that's the plan that we've discussed. Mr. Williams and Chief Reed also have discussed that with them. So we're prepared for a new plan. And also in that new plan, we will be able to drive off Frawley Road this year the way we're setting up the Christmas lights, and people will be able to drive to the arena for indoor soccer, where last year they got called out at the main road. So this is a lot more workable plan. I've only got one more thing that I have to do to complete the plan, and then I will take care of that within the next 2 weeks. And I think it'll work good.
All right, I would like to make a proposal to council. If we can, I mentioned earlier, we have 3 weeks between now and our next regularly scheduled council meeting. If you're available, Willie, I would like to call a meeting for August 6th, which will be 2 weeks from tonight. So it maintains our normal schedule. We could, my concern would simply be the notice, and we may have, and potentially rightfully so, some complaints that there wasn't enough time for the public to digest exactly what we were trying to do. Perhaps. But I would like to, if we could plan a meeting for 2 weeks from tonight, if that works, Thursday, August 6th. And we can kind of do our regular timings. We can be here at 6 o'clock.
Like you all, the time you short.
We're ready.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd like for that.